How's it going, everyone? Dax here, and today we're going to be reacting to another OverSimplified video, reacting to the first Punic War OverSimplified part. Well, let's get straight into it. And away we go.
This video was made possible by NordVPN. Click the link below and get an exclusive deal with a huge discount and a 30-day money-back guarantee.
Might just be me.
Introducing our new, glorious, breathtaking bucket plushie. Limited quantity available.
My headset
now,
was on the wrong way around.
Ooh,
bucket plushie.
Pins. Buy them, or I'll marry your mother. It's your choice.
Oh, wait.
Oh, Marcellus.
How dare you?
Have a lot of dignitas. Kiss me.
Okay. Hey, Dad. Hi, son. Just reading the newspaper. What can I do for you? Well, you know how you always say Rome is the greatest civilization in the world? It bloody well is. Well, I was just wondering, what makes us so great? How did we come to be? Wow. My son. Boy, let me take you on a journey.
Oh, here we go. Long journey.
The room.
Oh.
The story of Rome begins with these beautiful baby boys going to town on some she-wolf mommy milkers. That's gross.
What?
You're gross. Sorry, son. You're not gross. I love you. They're called Romulus and Remus, and when they grew up in 753 BC, they founded Rome. But there was just one problem. They couldn't agree on which of them should be the king.
In charge, yeah. It's always the case.
Peacefully, right? Oh,
no.
Heavens, no. Romulus caved Remus's skull in with a shovel. Here's a picture. Our first king committed fratricide? I know. Look at his face. When's the part where we become
the game's the game.
Dad? Well, you see, at first Rome was full of men. I'm talking like a real sausage party. Yes, sir. So we invited some neighboring cities over for a big feast.
Oversimplified's down back. What is happening?
And then we literally kidnapped all of their women. Here's a picture. Look at that one. She's like, this is messed up. You're messed up. Oh, sorry. I'll be a better father. I promise. So then, finally, after centuries of monarchy, those tyrannical kings started getting a little too big for their britches. So we overthrew the kings and established Rome as a republic. Is that when all the killing stopped? Oh, heavens no.
That's when it started.
Surged, baby. We went wild and conquered the Latins, the Samnites, the Etruscans. Woo! What a rush. Dad, Rome seems pretty barbaric. You're barbaric! Oh, I forgot to tell you about the time a prophet told Saturn his son would one day overthrow him. So Saturn literally ate his own son seconds after he was born.
How?
I don't want to see it.
Why?
Here's a picture.
No.
Dad! Look at that! That's messed up, man. Are we really this uncivilized? Hey! If we were so uncivilized, would we use communal toilets where we all fart and poo together in one big stinky, steamy, dirty toilet room? Yeah, Dad, we would.
It's better than what they did in Europe. Didn't they just throw out the window?
Your butt with a sponge, Timulus. But all these guys just used it. What's wrong with your son, bro?
Oh, no.
This is so weird. You're weird. Sorry, you're not weird. I'm sure you're probably fine.
Okay, dude. Yo, the production's gone up since the previous videos.
The Roman Republic, a nation
like,
that, since its foundation, had been stabbing necks all the way down the Italian peninsula. But this isn't the famous Roman Empire that ruled the known world. Not yet anyway. This is a relatively juvenile Rome, still just a regional power. In 264 BC, the big daddy of the Western Mediterranean was Carthage. Let's rewind a bit. Carthage was founded in 814 BC when some Phoenicians had a mega surplus of goods and decided to export those goods across the Mediterranean. They became the dominant trading power in the region, and to support their growing trade network, the Phoenicians established a number of colonies, one of which was Carthage. Therefore, Carthage began its life as a Phoenician trade colony, and the Carthaginians were actually Phoenicians. Or,
Phoenician
if
blind?
you were Latin-speaking Roman, they were Punic, hence the name of the video.
Over
the centuries, Carthage gradually expanded and became the region's base of power. Just like Rome, Carthage was a semi-democratic republic with its own senate and judiciary. But there were also some pretty hefty differences between the two. While Rome was big into farming and stabbing people in the neck, the Carthaginians, on the other hand, just like their Phoenician forefathers, had built their power through trade and navigating the waves. They went here and there, selling ivory tusks, gold, and slaves. And as a result, they were rolling in it. Whenever
Yeah.
they weren't busy swimming around in their copious hordes of money. In their spare time, they also possibly enjoyed sacrificing their children to Baal, the god of... Let me just check my notes.
Hammond?
Ah, yes. Plant fertility. Oh boy, these figs aren't
Huh?
looking too hot. Maybe if I throw my son into a burning pit of fire, they'll grow. Have you tried
Nice.
watering them, Dad?
No.
No, we'll try that second. As a result of all
You
their
go in the
trading,
pit.
Carthage had emerged as one of the Mediterranean superpowers. But wait,
Okay.
they said. Rome? What the heck is that? Well, I know it's a pretty obscure little country that you've probably never heard of. But this spunky young nation was about to upset the entire region's balance of power. Initially, the two sides enjoyed relatively friendly relations, and it even signed a
Okay.
couple treaties. But it was a relationship that was practically destined to turn sour. See, Rome had a thing where they liked to aggressively expand their boundaries, often viewing
see.
such expansion as a defensive act. Kinda like when you kill your neighbor, because you knew eventually they would have tried to kill you first. Meanwhile,
I see.
Carthage was
Smart
extremely
move.
protective of its wealthy trade network. So if you put a very strategically important island between them, well, 2 + 2
Ooh.
equals war. Tensions rose,
Ooh.
and the two sides began viewing each other with increasing disdain. The
Okay.
hard-working Romans looked across the water at the money-hungry Carthaginians and said, "Look at those dishonest crooks. Bet they've never done an honest day's work in their lives." And the Carthaginians looked back and said, "Look at those simple-minded brutes. Bet they've never sacrificed a baby in their lives." Yeah.
Wow.
While war between the two superpowers
okay.
seemed inevitable, the event that finally triggered it was a little unexpected. The whole thing began with a few simple mad lads on a wild night out. These mad lads are called the Mamertines. They were Italian mercenaries employed by the tyrant of Syracuse. Here. But when he died,
Syracuse?
his successor said, "Sorry, fellas, we don't need any big burly men with sharp sticks anymore. You can all go home." The
That's
Mamertines,
sad.
as it turned out, didn't want to go home. So instead, they went to the nearby town of Messana and said, "Hey man, we are but poor little buff boys without a home. May we come in?" Aw, poor fellas. Sure thing.
What?
Just so long as you promise not to massacre all of us.
What?
We promise. The Mamertines then massacred all of them. Well, not all of them, just the
What?
men. And they stole their homes and families. Ha!
Huh?
This is my house now. This is my best dad ever mug now. And you guys are my new family. Son? Wanna
Wow.
go play catch with your old papa? You're not my real dad! Ugh. Teenagers. Am I right, dear? You're not
Among
my
Us.
real husband. Ugh, I'm so trapped in this marriage. Then get out! No, Messana was never
Okay.
controlled by the Mamertines, and they began raiding up and down the Syracuse coastline. When the new ruler of Syracuse saw this, he wasn't happy. The Syracusans began fighting back, and in response, the Mamertines said, "Oh crap, they're fighting back? What do we do? Quick, we'll convince the Carthaginians to come and save us." Oh no! We're in trouble, and we need a big, strong empire to come and rub our bellies.
What is with this
Saying
video?
it like that.
Yeah.
If I was a big, strong empire, I think I'd like to be seduced. See? It's working. The Carthaginians had long dreamed of controlling all of Sicily. They had been fighting Syracuse and their Greek influence on the island for centuries. And now, here was a great opportunity to get one over on them. So Carthage promptly answered the Mamertines' cry for help and sent a force to garrison Messana. As it turned out, however, some within the ranks of the Mamertines weren't too happy with the occupying Carthaginians, and they sent out a second cry for help to Rome.
To Rome?
When it
Oh
reached the Roman
no.
Senate,
This
they
starts the
were
war,
a
I'm
little
guessing.
More hesitant.
The
Going
proper
to help
war.
the Mamertines ran the risk of triggering an all-out war with Carthage, and they had only just finished conquering the Italian peninsula, so they were kind of tired. Plus, the Mamertines were all the way across the water. They had never made a leap like that before. So you would assume that to avoid any conflict with Carthage, the exhausted Romans would probably sit this one out.
Nah,
But you would assume wrong.
I didn't
Rome
assume at
just
all.
couldn't resist a good
I thought the
chance for
opposite.
war. Why? Well, there's something you gotta understand about Rome. See, as
Yeah,
a
that-
republic, they were hell-bent on preventing any one man from ever gaining too much power. And so
Yeah.
rather than having one leader, Rome had two, called consuls, who shared power. These consuls could also only serve for 1 year.
Wait, that could have been handy when the two brothers fought over it.
Year at a time before new consuls were elected. These measures to limit the powers of the consuls were noble, but had an interesting side effect. The consuls knew they had just 1 year to try and gain as much glory and prestige as possible, something that was very important in Roman society. And the best way of gaining glory and prestige? Military victory, of course. The Roman political system basically ended up encouraging these consuls to go out and be as aggressive as your Italian grandmother when you don't eat all the spaghetti. And so the glory-seeking consuls convinced the people to vote in favor of going to Messana. And in they went. Upon the arrival of the Romans, the Carthaginians in the city, amongst the confusion, were forced to leave. Now, in contrast to Roman aggression, the Carthaginian military had a slightly different philosophy. All right, kids, listen up. If you want to grow up to be Carthaginian military leaders, there's a few things you
Well, they're traders, isn't they? That's their main thing, where Roman soldiers are a thing, right? I mean, they're a big thing about
the battlefield. That's a crucifixion. Showing cowardice. That's a crucifixion. Hello, sir.
Oh, wow.
What are you doing here? Aren't you meant to be in Messana?
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
But the Romans showed up. So you just left? Sure did. Oh, you better believe that's a crucifixion. The Roman consuls were awarded for victory, and therefore tended to be aggressive go-getters. By contrast, the Carthaginian generals were brutally punished for failure, and so they tended to be more cautious and restrained. This dynamic is helpful for understanding some of the crazy things that happened during the Punic Wars. So, the Romans have crossed over to Messana, and now there was some red on the island. Hit that panic button. This turn of events was unacceptable to both Carthage and Syracuse, so the traditional enemies teamed up to kick the Romans off their island. They surrounded the city and said, "Hey, you jerks! This isn't your island! Come out of there at once!"
Okay, we're coming.
See, Phil, you just gotta speak with authority. That's what being an alpha male's all about.
And they're going to attack.
You brought your weapons and armor?
That horse's
No, I
eyes.
didn't-
Sorry, I'm looking at.
Oh, crap. Out the Roman legions came to engage the Carthaginians in battle, and they sent them packing. With the Battle of Messana, whether intended or not, by going to help the Mamertines, the two sides had just slipped into an all-out war.
Jesus.
With the initial Roman victory, towns across Sicily, including Syracuse, began switching allegiance because being a winner is more fun. But the Carthaginians weren't about to just give up that easily. In 262 BC, they began building up their forces at Agrigentum. So the Romans, being aggressive go-getters, aggressively go-got them. The Romans immediately laid siege, hoping to starve out the Carthaginian garrison. However, because this was the first time Rome had been fighting outside the Italian peninsula, across the water, they struggled to supply their forces. And before long, the Romans were as starving as the Carthaginians they were besieging. They had to forage for food, leaving them open to ambush. And when Carthaginian reinforcements arrived, creating a double siege, things got really bad. Everybody starved each other for months until nobody could take it anymore. And they all finally came out for battle, which Rome won. Here's the report from the recent siege at Agrigentum, sir. We killed 30,000 while only suffering 7,000 losses? That's amazing! We're the best! Yes, sir. Whoops, those are the wrong way around. What? We lost 30,000? We're the worst! But we won, right? Yes, sir. But we also got our asses kicked. Yes, sir.
How is that?
The best or the worst? Yes, sir. The Romans won at Agrigentum because they were aggressive go-getters, and they now began eyeing up the possibility of conquering the entire island. But they also suffered very heavy losses, and it was clear they couldn't sustain a campaign if they couldn't supply their troops. Here's the issue. Sicily was an island. Islands are surrounded by water. A strong navy would be vital for supplying troops and winning the war. Here was Carthage's navy. And here was Rome's. I think you can see the problem. Historians debate just how much naval experience Rome had at this point. Presumably, they must have had something to defend their shoreline. But whatever it was, it would have paled in comparison to the Carthaginian juggernaut. And so Rome had to figure out
They used to
exactly what
trade
to
as
do
well.
about all this water. Come on, men. We're not gonna let some pansy candy-ass water get in the way of our glorious victory against Carthage. Charge! Tell my kids I love them.
Wait, no one's gonna save him? Okay.
We're gonna need a bigger boat. What's a boat? I don't know. If the Romans wanted to win this war and obtain Sicily, there was only one thing for them to do. I guess
Build
we're
a
just gonna have to
navy.
go ahead and build ourselves a war fleet, aren't we?
All that.
From scratch? From scratch. But we don't even know how. Never mind how to fight with one. Don't worry, Hank. We're up to the challenge. Come on, guys.
Huh?
We're Romans.
Why's
And
our
Romans
one?
aren't afraid of anything. And so, the Romans worked long and hard trying to figure out how on earth you actually build the latest style of warship. In the end, they
Man
had
is
a bit
whipping a
of luck on
fish.
their
Oh,
side.
you missed it. Sorry.
A Carthaginian quinquereme ended up accidentally grounding on Italian soil. The Romans found it and copied the design.
Oh,
While the new fleet
wow.
was being built, the Romans trained rowers on land. And would you believe it? The Romans put together a full fighting fleet of
Wow.
120 warships in just 2 months. A
That's
staggering feat.
crazy.
Now,
That
I know
is
what you're
good.
thinking, but oversimplified.
It's not
if the
me, but
Romans
okay.
can build a war fleet from scratch in 2 months, then why does it take you half a year to make a video?
Whoa.
My valued subscriber.
We're gonna
I
get an
think
ad.
you should shut up. What the heck?
Oh, never mind.
How on earth did the Romans learn how to build a war fleet? This shouldn't be happening. From what I hear, they copied the design from us, sir. Well, how on earth did they get the blueprint, Carl? I don't know, sir. But
Oh,
I'll
no.
tell you what. If you're worried about people stealing your data, no. And you want to
Oh,
protect
it
yourself
is
from
an
outside threats,
ad.
don't you dare. Then you, my
Okay.
friend, if you mention NordVPN, I'll scream. Should use NordVPN. Do you like corporations knowing everything about you and then
I don't
selling
care,
your
really.
data to advertisers who convince you to buy things you don't need in an endless cycle over and over
I'm not gonna
until
buy
you
it.
die? Me neither. And that's why I use NordVPN. NordVPN allows you to
I want a VPN for Netflix, to be honest, though.
connect to super fast secure servers all around the world, encrypting your
I don't care
IP
about
address
data.
to protect your online data from undesirable eyes. That means you can look at all the squatty potties you want.
Hey, yo.
No, with NordVPN, you can search for better online deals in other territories and unlock content not available in your country. NordVPN now comes with a
Whoa.
threat protection function and much more. And if you don't like it, it comes with a 30-day money-back guarantee. Go to
August.
nordvpn.com/oversimplified to get an exclusive deal with a huge discount. That's nordvpn.com/oversimplified. And as always, you'll be supporting my channel. So thank
Cool.
you. Now, where were we? Oh, yeah.
Romans have
The
ships.
siege at Agrigentum, supply
what?
issues, and building a war fleet.
Okay, there we
So
go.
now the Romans have a navy, and it's time to put it to the test.
Oh, it is
But
a navy,
how
okay.
does one wage ancient naval warfare? Easy. All of the ships had giant bronze rams on the front, so all you had to do was outmaneuver the enemy and give
Ram
them the
'em,
jimmies.
and then board 'em.
Easy
Oh, never
as
mind.
pie. And so the aggressive Romans
Did they
set
not
out
board?
for some good old-fashioned jimmy giving. The consul, Gnaeus Cornelius Scipio, set out for the town of Lipara, believing the garrison there wanted to join the Romans. As he entered the harbor, however, he found himself trapped by a Carthaginian fleet, and in the following skirmish, he was completely outmatched. The Romans may have had a brand new fleet, but when it
But he
came
didn't know
to
how to
engaging
use
in
them?
actual combat, their inexperience showed. There was just something better about the Carthaginian ships.
Faster?
The Carthaginian rowers had nicer abs. The entire Carthaginian
Dude.
empire had been built on expert seamanship. So when it came to
mhm.
water, the Carthaginians were better, and the Romans were wetter. In
When it
their
come to
initial
land.
skirmish, the Romans were beaten so badly that the consul, Scipio, was given a nickname, Asina. And if you're wondering what that means, just drop the Ina. So
Oh,
what
ass.
were the Romans to do? How could they possibly stand up to this Carthaginian superpower? Well, there's something you gotta understand about the Romans. Back when they found that Carthaginian ship and copied its design, that wasn't a one-off thing. Copying their enemies was as Roman as punishing murderers by
Oh,
sewing them into
wow.
a leather pouch with a monkey, snake, and rooster, and then throwing
What?
them into a river, which is a
That's
thing they
so
did.
specific.
Wait, what was I talking about? Oh yeah,
Copying.
Copying their enemies.
Yeah.
Many of the most famous Roman inventions were actually borrowed. aqueducts,
Oh.
chariot racing, their
What?
gods. Even
Oh.
in warfare, the Romans would get pierced by a Sabine javelin, and they'd be like, wow. They'd get hacked to bits by an Iberian sword, and they'd be
Oh.
like, wow. And they'd copy the designs for themselves. However,
Damn.
they wouldn't just copy it.
They make it better.
would advance it, finding
And
ways to
adapt it,
adapt
yeah.
it as perfectly
cool.
as possible. And in the case of naval warfare, the Romans realized if they wanted to beat the Carthaginians at their
They
own
gotta
game,
change it.
would have to adapt.
Mm.
The Romans excelled at combat on land, not on water.
So
But
boarding,
what if,
am I
they
right?
said, we could somehow turn a sea battle into a land battle. Sounds crazy, right?
Am I
Well,
genius?
They
No,
made a
Jane.
couple of tweaks to their warship.
Yeah.
And
Oh, they are gonna
look,
board
here they
them.
come again. They must love getting their asses kicked.
That's
Sir, what's
cool.
that toll thing sticking out of their ships? They really are idiots. Look at that thing. That'll make them blow over. I mean, look at... Bob! Bob! Get your camera out. Take a picture of it. I mean, how stupid can you be? Let's just add a big wooden tower to our ship that'll weigh us down and blow us over in the wind. I mean, what does that thing even do?
Okay, we get it. Insta win.
The Romans had built a big swinging spiked gangway called the
Yeah.
Corvus. So when the Carthaginian
Corvus.
ships approached,
That's
to
a cool
ram them,
name.
the Romans would just slam them. The Carthaginians
Damn.
tried going around, no problem. The Corvus could swivel. Try going
That's
behind,
sick.
the Romans would huddle to the coastline. It was foolproof. Those
Damn.
big, sexy Carthaginian rowing muscles could flex all they want, but they were no match for the Roman mind. So
Damn.
ladies, you see, what really matters is what's on the inside. Please go out with me. And with that,
Wow.
the Romans,
Wow.
who had only just recently began dabbling in the art of naval combat, thanks to their ingenious Corvus, had just managed to outclass the Mediterranean seafaring superpower. The Carthaginians
Sick.
were stunned, and the general in charge of the defeated Carthaginian fleet, well, you better believe that's a crucifixion.
I don't think this is very
With their
effective.
newfound control of the seas, the Romans could now more easily blockade coastal cities and supply their legions on land. Surely,
Damn.
the Romans were now free to
Yeah,
unleash
Sicily's
their
theirs.
aggression
Of course.
all over the island. Haha! Hey, Carthaginians, what are you gonna do now that we're free to rampage across the island? We're gonna go inside these walls and close this gate. Oh, come
Huh?
on, guys. Stop messing around. Come out so we can kill you. No. Oh, come on. No.
We're gonna have to lay siege?
Oh, no. To counter the new Roman supremacy, the Carthaginians decided to engage in a defensive war of attrition, forcing the Romans to engage in siege after lengthy siege. The
Jeez.
war in Sicily became a long, hard, back-and-forth slug. One by one, cities slowly fell as the Romans gained ground. Occasionally, the Carthaginians
Jeez. Is this gonna be the thing again where they lost more men, but won?
countered
Kind
and
of.
even pushed them back, only for the Romans to rebound again. And whenever a
Damn.
city did finally fall, the Romans could delight in slaughtering the entire population and selling any survivors into
Nice.
slavery, which was pretty
Oh,
standard
God.
procedure at the time. In general, the campaign on land was progressing much slower than the Romans had hoped, and quite frankly, they were getting sick of it. So in 256 BC, they decided that something had to change.
For
Hey
example?
everyone, my name's Marcus
Yeah, that's a-
Atilius Regulus, and I'll
that's
be
a
one of your consuls
bold
for this
chin.
year. Look, as I'm sure you all know, Sicily's being a bit of a drag. Sure, I could go and spend my entire year as consul besieging one single city, but they'll never make a naked statue of me for that. So here's
Okay.
the new plan. I'm gonna skip Sicily entirely, take my army, and go right for the heart of Carthage itself.
Oh, and then they
I'll
retreat
slaughter the
from
men,
Sicily?
enslave all the women and children, and when I
sounds
return,
terrible.
you'll all build 1,000 naked statues of me.
Does he do it?
Marcus, that women and children stuff, that seems pretty evil and barbaric. No, Jim, it's perfectly normal in the ancient world. Sometimes we even chop their pets in half.
Nice.
Okay,
True
guys,
story.
looks like the Romans are
What?
coming straight for us this time. And what will they do when they get here? They'll kill us all. They'll massacre
what are they gonna
each
do
and
about
every
it?
last one of us. They may even chop our pets in half. That's barbaric! barbaric. No, Rob.
Not the
it's
bug.
actually pretty normal for the time. We'd do the same to them. Who'll protect
Wow.
us? Funny you should ask, Mary. That's kind of why I called this meeting. Who will protect us? Protect our families, our homes, our children.
I'm guessing no one.
You guys? Ha!
Ooh.
Don't make me laugh. Why, you're just a bunch of stupid and weak farmers.
Oh, they're gonna make him fight.
Simple-minded buffoons.
Oh
Cowards.
no.
Fools.
Oh.
Rob here thinks enslaving women and children is barbaric. You're a snowflake, Rob.
A
Yes, you are.
snowflake.
The fact is, if the
Oh
Romans managed to
no.
land on African soil, we're all gonna die. A terrifying, hideous, unspeakably painful death.
This speech is disheartening.
Is that the end of that speech? Yes.
Wow.
The Carthaginians had
Time
to
to
stop
move.
the Romans from ever landing in Africa because they believed that would be the end.
So they'll
as
move
the
out of
Romans
Sicily,
were building
right?
An invasion fleet, the size of which the world had never seen before. The Carthaginians were preparing an even bigger one
Oh, never mind
to
then.
stop them. And in 256 BC, as the Roman invasion fleet made its way south, the stage was set for a humongous battle that saw
God.
680 warships,
Jesus.
around 300,000 men, fighting to decide the course of the war. To this
That's
day,
crazy.
the Battle of Cape Ecnomus remains possibly the largest naval battle in human history, all the way
Whoa.
back in ancient times. So the next
I wouldn't want to be in it, but I'd want to see it.
time your granddad tells you about the time he sank a Japanese aircraft carrier, kick him in the nuts. The Romans had a
Oh
lot
my
riding on this
God.
battle. They weren't just sending their warships, but transports as well, full of supplies and horses for their invasion of Africa. They therefore formed a protective wedge-like formation to punch
Okay.
through the long, thin Carthaginian
Wow.
line. The Carthaginian generals, however, desperate to prevent the Romans from reaching Africa, had a plan of their own. As the Roman fleet approached, the Carthaginian center feigned a retreat, luring the
Oh, they're
Romans
gonna
in so their outstretched
pinch
flanks
through 'em,
could
go around 'em,
envelop
yep.
and get around the Roman Corvus. A clever
Ooh.
plan. But
But
with such a huge battle and so many ships crowded together, the Carthaginians struggled to maneuver as hoped.
Oh,
And in
no.
the chaos, 3 separate battles emerged across the huge
Oh.
battle space. With the number of ships limiting their ability to maneuver, the Carthaginians became sitting ducks, and all the Romans had to do was start
Bored.
swinging. The Roman center came out on top, and were then able to turn around and rescue their
Oh,
pinned down flanks. The
damn.
Battle of Cape Ecnomus was a Roman
Whoa.
victory.
For sure, for sure. Oh, we gotta watch part 2. That was a very, very good video. Okay. I'll see you next one. I'm gonna go watch part 2.